Our first question does come to us from Susie by way of email, and her question simply states, my husband was a passenger in an accident and his hand went around the airbag and broke the windshield. And the airbag hit the car, hit his ear. My apologies, it hit his ear. Now he has problems with both his hand and he's lost most of his hearing. The insurance company hasn't paid a penny and has offered $7,000 for everything. But the insurance woman is also very rude and ugly to us. And we've sent her everything that she asked for. So is there any suggestions for Susie in this case?
Well, you know, as the man said in Lonesome Dove, you just can't tolerate rude behavior. And a lot of times it's that kind of rudeness that drives people to a lawyer. Probably this is not a case, at least as far as the airbag and the windshield are concerned. We didn't get quite enough information, however, to deal with the host driver. If the host driver was negligent and caused the wreck, then you would have a cause of action against the host driver, unless there were a bar to that recovery based on some exceptions to the rule. But you know, you would need more facts if the question deals with a product, that is how the airbag went off and whether or not it should have prevented the injury to the hand from the windshield. What is your take on that question, BJ?
Well, like you said, it could be based on the question. There's some missing facts. If there's another vehicle that was at fault, there may be a third party that's partially responsible for the injury in addition to the host driver or instead of the host driver. But as Carl mentioned, anytime you start talking about a product liability case against an airbag, and we get calls all the time about people that run off the road and hit a ditch or hit a tree or do something and the airbag didn't go off, and they're walking and talking to us and explaining the injuries that they're very minor, relatively minor. And the problem with the cases like that, they cost so much money and so much time to pursue. Unless you have a catastrophic injury in a product setting, you really don't have the economic you really don't want to spend that much money to get less than you spend on a case. In other words, it's not cost efficient.
Yeah, people don't always understand that. I mean, for instance, a product liability case will easily, 3 years would be short. We've tried cases, one in particular up in Kentucky, we tried. We got a very good verdict, $19.1 million. But that case took 7 years from the time that the event happened until we got a jury verdict in Lexington, Kentucky. And we had probably out of pocket, now I'm not talking about the salaries of the people who worked on it, but just out of pocket cost in that case was over $500,000. So 7 years, $500,000, you just don't get into something like that unless it is a catastrophic injury or a death. And in fact, we just resolved one couple of weeks ago that involved a child who was in a pickup truck with his grandmother. It was his grandmother's, the wreck was his grandmother's fault. The truck rolled and the child's seatbelt, which was buckled, failed, and the child was killed. That case went a good 4 years and probably would not have settled except for a lot of extenuating circumstances that deal with the COVID-19 effect on the courts. I mean, we've talked about this before. A lot of the courts are just simply shut down because of the COVID-19. So in that particular case, we were able to get it worked out. But they are, as far as cost and time, effort, and energy, any product case, product liability case, whether it's negligence in the manufacturing or they are more time consuming and more costly than a medical malpractice case, a professional liability case.